Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's market debrief. Okay, what we have here on screen is the S&P 500 index. Okay, and what we are seeing here is that the S&P 500 index, right, has started to make new high over the past 2 nights. Okay, and now this is running on an uptrend, so we'll be expecting this to continue its uptrend movement. Okay, so with the unlimited QE policy that the Feds have done or created, okay, we will be expecting more of asset price going upward. So this is how it looks like. Now this is the Dow Jones. Dow Jones is still trading near its all-time high, okay, and we'll be expecting it to follow suit with the S&P 500 index. This is the Nasdaq. Similarly, also it has also broken new high, the past 2 nights. Okay, so we are expecting the U.S. to rise, or continue on its uptrend, despite the rising numbers of COVID. Okay, I think this is all due to the expectation that the vaccine is going to help control this pandemic. Okay, this is the Bitcoin. Previously, last week I've mentioned over here that the Bitcoin is tends to move on, to continue on its uptrend rally. Okay, then thereafter, I think because of news that the U.S. is coming up with certain regulation to regulate this Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin had a big sell down after that news. So what happens is that thereafter it has rallied back up, to continue its rally, its uptrend movement. Okay, so overall this Bitcoin is strong. Okay, because as I mentioned before, the unlimited QE is pushing most of the asset prices upwards. The one that is not really moving that high is the gold price. Okay, now gold, as mentioned previously, I've mentioned that it is going to move down. It's weak, it's going to test this support. Okay, it momentarily broke the support and then thereafter rebound back up. Okay, so this provides a support region for the gold price. Okay, so we would like to see how this one turns out. Okay, it needs to rest some time. I've mentioned over here, after this big drop, it has to rest for some time before it can turn back up. Okay, so this is basically a consolidation phase. Alright, this is the Hang Seng Index. Okay, what Hang Seng Index has been doing is that for the past week, it's been trading around the support and resistance area. Okay, this area that I've mentioned or highlighted before previously. Okay, so it's been trading around this range, and well, I think it's waiting, for a catalyst for it to move upwards. Okay, because firstly the COVID numbers had suddenly spiked, to like average like 80 plus cases a day. So we like to see how they are able to manage this first, before looking into Hong Kong. So Hong Kong is taking a breather. Okay, so we like to see how this one will turns out. Now in our rest of the Asian market, what we have here is the Thailand market. Okay, the Thailand index also recently broke off, continue to make new highs, or new highs, recent highs. Okay, and we have the Vietnamese market, one of the strongest one. Okay, where it basically it had broke off. Okay, and then did a big consolidation, and then it has continued on in its rally. Okay, so if we were to take a look here at the COVID numbers in the past 1 month, Vietnam has been managing it very well. Okay, most of the time is less than 10 cases. Okay, now if we look at Thailand has been also managing it well, but most of it is like under 20 cases. All right, now if we look at Singapore, what Singapore has done is also, yes, a few spikes, more than 10 cases, but they nonetheless is managing like less than 10, but on average it's still higher than Vietnam. So Vietnam has been controlling it very well, so therefore it has been having this new rally happening. Okay, so if we look at Singapore, what Singapore does is that right now is having this break or consolidation that Vietnam had already done it like last month. Okay, so if Singapore is able to control it well, like average less than 5 cases for the next few weeks, right, I would say very likely SDI is going to continue its second leg run, okay, probably to test over this region here about 3040 to 3080. Okay, so we like to see how this one will turn out, for Singapore. So overall, I will see that probably another week of rest, Singapore might start to move off again. Okay, so let's look at the main drivers that drives Singapore market. Um, First of all, it's definitely the three banks. So let's look at the biggest one. This is DBS. Okay, so DBS, as previously mentioned, okay, that it's been trading within this range, this band. This is the previous resistance, and then this is a subsequent resistance. What happened is that it has broken off this resistance, test the second one, and then rebound here, okay, on this resistance turn support. Okay, so we had a nice rally here, but nonetheless the volume isn't there to support, meaning to say our what I'm thinking is that it will most likely is going to consolidate further, okay, because the volume is not supporting in this rise. Probably sellers would like to come in, when it starts to retest this resistance again. Okay, OCBC Bank, right? What OCBC Bank does is, I would say it's still like quite strong, similarly with the DBS. Okay, it has this about 23% retrace back, from its high after it tests this about $10.40. So it's low here about 9.90. Okay, so it most likely is going to have similar pattern, but DBS overall is still have a stronger pattern. So UOB similarly the weakest among the three, okay, and therefore its pullback is also a little bit deeper as compared to the other two. So what we will see here is that most likely it's going to consolidate further, okay, and then if all turns well, it might continue its subsequent rally, okay, like somehow in what I've shown the Vietnam market. So what we want to look at is the stronger component stock, STI component stocks. Okay, so these are Singtel is the biggest one that affects Singapore. Okay, so what we have here is that there is a signs that here might possibly be the low already. Okay, 227 in its retracement. Okay, so we would like to see how this one will react, and then from here it might look at chance to accumulate. Okay, so we have to reaccess this over the next few days. Okay, Jardine Medicine, as mentioned, is one of the, is doing a turnaround after it broke off this, and it's continuing its rally. All right, or I would say most likely finishing its consolidation, about 1 week of consolidation, 1 week to 1.5 weeks. Okay, so most likely it might start to rally again. Okay, so we'd like to see how this one turns out. Okay, Jardine Strategic, okay, over the past 3 days have a very nice rally. Huge rally after this small consolidation or retracement, okay, and continue its rally. So most likely it might continue on, and then find its new consolidation. So what you want to see is to look for a new consolidation phase like this, pulls back, for you to enter and then continue its trend. Okay, so right now for Jardine strategy is that this 20-day moving average and the 50-day moving average are turning up very nicely. So most likely is going to be a sustainable rally, or turn up. So I've mentioned before sets being the strong one, the likely one, for the once tourism resumes. Okay, so with the air travel bubble burst, or delayed, so most likely sets is also going to delay for a while. Okay, so I would think the consolidation will take a little bit longer for sets. Okay, because this is one thing, is a very strong move, and there is a delay happening in the air travel bubble between Singapore and Hong Kong. Okay, this is Hy-P, one of the strongest stock or best performing stocks in the Singapore market in the short term. Okay, so I've mentioned previously in many videos, to watch out for Hy-P because of high demand for these Apple so-called iPhone 12 product that they launched. Okay, so therefore this created this demand for high P shares, share price. Okay, so right now it is testing this high made back in March 2019. Okay, it's retesting this area. So be what we'll be expecting is sellers to come into the market, because firstly this rise is too high. Okay, so if you want to look into buying into these shares, we have to see a nice consolidation over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Okay, so we have to see how this one turns out, and then look at this area between 160 165, right, to for a next entry, for the next run. Okay, so one of the sectors that is quite strong is the hospitality sector. Okay, so this is a Far East Hospitality Trust. Previously I've mentioned here being the resistance, or this is the resistance area, the so-called resistance band. Okay, so at this moment it's been trading right below this, waiting for it to break above. Okay, so I believe once there are more convincing news, this might start to move off, and being a trust, its move is usually quite sluggish. Okay, so but nonetheless it's one of the stronger ones. Okay, this is Fraser Hospitality Trust. Okay, recently it has quite a nice move in the past 2 weeks. Okay, so right now it's resting in this region, and we like to see how this one will turn out. Okay, with its resistance roughly about 53 half. Okay, so most likely we will wait for it to finish its consolidation, and then you can look for a new trade. Looking at what news come around for the tourism sector. Okay, this is CDR Hospitality Trust. Okay, recently it has broken off above its resistance area. Okay, so right now it's making a new one. What I would say is starting its new trend. Okay, so we would like to see this one how it turns out. So you can look at it as it pulls back, right? You can look into accumulating it, or buying it up. Okay, similarly for Escort Trust, okay, it has broken off above this 200-day moving average, and then resting just below this resistance. Okay, so overall Escort is the weaker among the past few hospitality trusts that I've mentioned. Okay, because firstly it has not cleared this previous high it has made back in June this year. Okay, so you have not tested this. Okay, so compared to the rest, this is lagging behind among the hospitality trusts. Okay, so we like to see how this one will turns out. So overall Escort firstly is doing a different thing compared to the rest. The rest has been more on a hotel business, whereas Escort is more on service apartments. Okay, so there's a slight difference in there. So probably because of business has slowed down, therefore Escort has not been recovering as fast as compared to the tourism sector. Okay, this is Capital Retail Trust. Okay, as I've mentioned before, they have expanded their investment mandate to cover all property types, industrial, data centers, commercial, retail space, and such. Okay, so with that, now they have already started on acquiring properties from their sponsor, Capital Land. And with that, they came out with their rights issue over here. Okay, you can see here is already XD. So there is this selling that happened. So what I can think of is that they basically, what they do is they sell the big chunk of their shareholdings. Okay, and then they are going to apply excess, scoop up whoever does not want to subscribe for the rights issue. Okay, as the subscription price is 117, and for them to sell at like 124 125, they already make quite a bit of the difference. Okay, comparing the amount of shares that's been traded. Okay, so therefore after this about 120 it rebounded off. Okay, so from here, as you can see here, all the lines that I've drawn is still trading in the range. Alright, so what we would like to see is that if we can continue to trade up and retest this about $1.30 area, right, then most likely it's going to turn trend from here. Okay, so we would like to see how it turns out over here. over the next few weeks. Okay, this is Maple Commercial Trust. Okay, as I mentioned before, there's a very nice strong rally here, sort of a mini V-shaped recovery. So what it does here is this kind of like form a cup pattern. Okay, so we like to see this finishing its handle pattern, form a nice cup and handle pattern, and then thereafter break off this $2.10 area. Okay, so probably give it another 1 or 2 weeks of consolidation. Main thing is we would like to see this $2 area here to hold well for this, and then from here after it break off, it will be a confirmed turnaround trend for Maple Tree Commercial. Okay, so this looks quite good. Okay, so on the small cap uh, small cap area where there are some movement, Oceanus I've mentioned before. Okay, after this rally, it tried to reattempt its so-called resistance, about 3.2 cents. I believe it has met with more sellers coming in. Okay, so and not much buyers supporting it. So we like to see. I think this one will consolidate further. So we'll see how this one will turns out. Okay, this is Halcyon. The past 2 days have a very strong rally, very strong interest. Okay, so from here we like to see it consolidate nicely, and then look for opportunity to trade, especially for those short-term traders. Okay, SunPower, they do solar panels in China. I think a long time ago I've mentioned about this stock, moving off, and then I think I didn't really follow up with this stock. So at this moment it's already trending up very nicely. Okay, so from here we can't really chase stock or invest in this, but for short-term traders you can look for like pullbacks, that does this, pullbacks. Okay, and then you can look for trading opportunity to trade, okay, on the short-term basis. Okay, so this is SunPower. Is starting on a strong uptrend. Okay, as I've mentioned, over the past few weeks, the industrial REIT sector has turned weak. Okay, so what is happening for this Ascenders REIT is that over the past few weeks is starting to drift down. Okay, so as you can see, the 20-day and 50-day moving average are already all pointing downwards. 200-day pointing downwards, so you'll be expecting more downside, more like drifting, instead of like big sell down that happened. Okay, so most likely it's going to drift downwards. So we just lay off, and then like to see if there's any like climax selling at the end of it. Then we look to pick up on the stocks. Okay, so we just monitor at the moment. Alright, this is Capital DC REIT. Okay, so Capital DC REIT, past 1 week has 5 days of selling. Okay, so it's going to retest its support area again. So we'll see how this one turns out. Overall is weak. Okay, there's high chance that it's going to form an inverted cup and handle over here and then continue its downtrend. Okay, so this roughly about 270 area will be a crucial area. Okay, Fraser Logistics and Commercial Trust seems stronger among the REITs, the so-called industrial REITs, mainly because they have won some awards, over here when it was announced, and there is a lot of buying up and sell down, big sell down. Okay, so thereafter it started to drift down. Okay, so I think you will slowly start to catch up with the rest of the REITs. Okay, so at this moment I would say just avoid them, or if you want to take profit, take partial profit, take your profit. As it goes down, then you can buy back more shares. Okay, Maple Tree Logistics similarly today had more selling happening. Okay, and so-called like pierced through this support, or this retest the low, the previous low done like 3 weeks ago. Okay, at 190. Okay, so we would like to see how this one will turns out. Most likely it's also going to be like Ascenders REIT, going to drift downwards. Okay, so the trick about drifting downwards, we're going to see to have a climax selling, like big selling happening. Then we look to pick up. This is Maple Tree industry, so it's also having a similar thing. Despite this hammer, small rebound, it started to retrace back, and retest its low or previous low. Okay, so at this moment, same. So this whole sector is weak at the moment, so you should just do not look into accumulating them at the moment. Okay, so we just wait for that to drop, see how far you can drop, and when there is like a selling climax, then we start to go in to accumulate. Okay, so that is mainly for the investor side. In summary, we will just like to see how this one turns out. We are now in the consolidation phase, and if all turns out well right over the next 1 to 2 weeks, I believe that the SDI will continue its upwards trend to retest the so-called overhead resistance. Okay, let me bring up the chart. Okay, so give it probably like a few more days, or probably next week, then we'll probably start to see a rally continue on upwards to test this 3040 area. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. I'll see you guys next week.